Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
The following production is part of the We Be Geeks podcast collective.
From days long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, comes a legend.
The dream that came through a million years, that lived on through all the tears.
It came here, the Fandom Nexus.
Fabulous secret powers were revealed to our host as he plugged in his microphone.
I have a podcast!
Here he is, your Spider-Pan, Jeremy.
Hello. Now I've got a British accent. Why did that happen? It's like I've been coming in here lately with "Hello, worthy friends," and I sound like I'm doing like a bad impersonation of Robin Williams at the beginning of Aladdin. Hello, worthy friends, and then now all of a sudden I've gone like full tilt. I don't know, British or something. Hi, it's me, Spider-Man Jeremy, and with me as always. Oh, I can barely hear you there. We got the Lost Boy Philip here, of course. Hello.
There. Can you hear me now?
There you are. I'm going to turn your volume up just a bit there.
Okay.
There we go. There you are. Well, it has been a couple of weeks since we've recorded, and my goodness, a whole lot of stuff has happened, hasn't it?
Yes.
So we're just going to call this episode Tribute, because the main thing is we're going to do some tributes to we've had a lot of people that meant a lot to us as in our childhood that have passed away. Now I've got a list of 5 people we're going to pay some tribute to.
Yeah.
But of course,
today.
Yeah, even today we just added one, so I'm glad we didn't record until today. But other than that, I've got a few things listed out here, a lot of different things in the trailer park. You know what? And I've got news is going to be fast today. News is going to be incredibly fast. I just got like 2 things I got to mention for news. Other than that, I'm like, whatever. There's just a lot of stuff. Anyways, I could just sit here and I could babble while the music is still rounding out, or I can make the music fade into the background. Because I've already previewed the whole thing. Fade it away. Isn't that wonderful how I can do that? I love these machines. Alrighty, just to kind of keep things moving, the host chatter thing, I've actually got something listed down here, which I got an entire story when we get to what you've been playing, but what you've been watching, something fun here on Netflix. On I believe it's the channel is Mattel Action, and it's an official Mattel channel, but they've been putting up one episode a week. I haven't looked this week, but I forgot how long they were going to do it, but they're putting up one episode a week of the 2002 Masters of the Universe series. So I've been getting a chance to watch, because you know what? I'm pretty sure I watched the entirety of the first season when it aired originally, but I didn't watch like the second season. They moved in and they had the Snake Men, but I didn't get to watch that season. So
you're talking about back in the day?
Well, back in the 2002. I mean,
yeah, I guess I just, for some reason, I didn't see the 2 part. I was seeing 2022, and I'm like, oh, well, okay. Which I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's not right, because...
Oh, yeah, you can actually see my notes for once. Yay! Yeah. We're using Skype, which is why Philip sounds a little different. I've been a little under the weather, and it's late as we're recording, so I didn't get to go over to sit with him, so we're doing it across ways. But we got a few things I definitely want to make sure I announce. We're coming up on the 400th episode, if you go back all the way to when this used to be the Neverland podcast anyway. So my plan is I want to coordinate. I'm gonna grab you, Phil, and also another fellow that I work with, Landon, who hasn't been over to Marceline yet. And I want to go to Marceline. Right now we're looking to do this August the 27th, and I know it's really, really short in notice, but any of you who happen to live in Missouri or at least somewhat close to the area, I should pick a time. I got to think what time the museum opens. But, yeah, we're looking at August the 27th. If you want to come into town, into Marceline, I figure we're going to make a day of it. Well, at least you can do all this stuff really in the morning, and in early afternoon you can be headed back home. We'll go to the museum. We'll eat at Ma Vic's. We'll go all to the important places in town, like the municipal park where the swimming pool used to be, over to Walt's old home, go see where the Dreaming Tree used to be. Just cover the whole thing with as much factoids are stuck in my brain. I will share all the knowledge that I gained over the years of when this used to be a Disney show. And I thought it would be a lot of fun and be a great stuff to share, even with good old Landon. He wanted to be able to come on the show sometime. So since he's met me, he's learned the weirdness that is me. We had a good old time, actually. We did a film shoot for a commercial for Sea Life, Kansas City. It was more of a... we shot video for them to have a video to explain why they have stingrays and not turtles in one of their exhibits and everything. So they didn't realize that we make commercials for our channel and not for, we don't do usual video production. But while we're headed down there, Landon and I seem to be very similar in opinion on a lot of different things. So
awesome.
I think you'll enjoy meeting Landon. I'm hoping that he and his wife can come along. He's a newlywed. He's a young pup, although... Awesome. Poor guy, he's in his, I think, early to mid-20s, and he's already lost a lot of his hair, the poor guy.
Well, I can't say a thing.
Yeah, but at least we're in our 40s, so let's loosen our hair.
A little before that, and mine, some has to do with brain surgery and all, but I will say this. You now have a song stuck in my head. You know what that is. Oh, Marceline.
Why can't you be true?
Oh, Marceline, to Walt, you are true.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Walt, he made Mickey Mouse for me and you.
Indeed, you. Hey, that rhymed. I didn't even mean it to. And I rhymed again. Oh, my gosh, I can't turn it off, you. Dadgummit. I need some gum to chew. Anybody want a peanut? Okay.
You make me blue.
Exactly. But I got some stories to tell you on what have you been playing. And I think I mentioned this on the last episode. I had to fly solo last time, but I had been playing through Borderlands, and I got stuck. So I thought, well, let me play something else for a little while. And because I have the PlayStation Plus Extreme, whatever, the full tilt account, I can play a lot of games. And Guardians of the Galaxy is available. And I think I mentioned last week that I started playing that one, and I think I talked a little bit about it. I love how it's actually gotten a lot of 80s music that plays, and it's really a lot of fun game. Well, as it is now, I'm stuck on Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Cool. But here's what's funny. So I thought I was going to play a lot of, and basically by stuck, I mean I found an area that I keep getting killed. I've also found myself, I thought, oh, look, Arkham Origins. I haven't played that in a long time, and I've only beaten it really on my Xbox 360, and I haven't played it on, the PlayStation. So I thought, let me play through that. And I got stuck fighting Deathstroke. I used to be able to beat Deathstroke, but for some reason, I cannot seem to beat Deathstroke. But since I have all these games available, so I get stuck, I go and I'll play something else. I went back to Borderlands, and the guy that kept sending at me that was killing me was suddenly not there anymore, so I managed to advance somewhere on Borderlands. So I'm starting to move along, but really all of this just to, bide my time waiting for August the 30th, because you know what August the 30th is?
Oh, yeah. I will say this, as far as what I've been playing, kind of goes back to what I've been watching.
Well, we left that hanging, though, August the 30th. We know what that is, and you said, oh, yeah, but we didn't tell them.
Oh, yeah. Well, you go ahead, son.
Because you don't know, do you?
No, I know. If it's what I'm thinking, I have a game coming out, and I'm trying to remember, is that the 30th or is that before that? I'm thinking it's coming.
The Cowabunga Collection.
That. Well,
that
I got
one.
something coming before. I got something coming up before that.
The Madden?
First off, I've been playing that. Yeah, Madden, baby. Madden. I've ordered the one that I can get the great big tin that looks like the original game, I'm so excited about that because you know me, I love, in fact, Jeremy, I didn't even think about it. I've been watching so many shows with my nephew. He's been over. That's why I haven't gotten I played a lot of games with him, including that other Turtles game and wrestling and a few other games, But while I've been doing that, I've been watching a lot of movies and fun things. And I don't know if you remember this, Jeremy. You remember the old movie from 1994 called Little Giants?
I'm trying to think if I watched that movie.
Yeah, it had it had Rick Moranis.
Yeah, Rick Moranis was their coach.
And what's his name? Who played Al Bundy? Ed
O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill.
Yeah, he was like the high money Little League football team, wasn't he? Ed O'Neill, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah, and but all of a sudden, right in the middle of it, John Madden shows up.
Oh yeah.
And playing himself, and that was so cool because I was already talking about Madden, and all of a sudden here he comes. He's like, we can't go here and here, and he's drawing like he does on this is on the map, and he's doing the little circle here and here and there, and we can't even find where we are. And you're like, oh man, I love you, man, you're the best. So. And then also I watched Prey. I don't know if you've seen that. Yes, Prey, Prey, and that's the prequel to
a new Predator, which it's an R-rated movie, so we won't generally cover it.
I will say this: that is the only other Predator movie that I think is great film, a great movie. I'm just telling you, great movie.
They actually didn't go so woke with it. I was kind of worried about it because the only thing I saw on the premise was this girl that because she's a woman, she's not allowed to become a hunter, but yet she's going to be the one that kills a predator. Well,
in that case, it's because it takes place back in the
with Native American tribes and.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact year. I maybe I didn't pay enough attention. But that being said, they did a great job, really great job. And, man, it was fun. It was a really fun film. And I got to say, it's my second favorite of the Predator films. Of course, the original. The original is my favorite. I mean, even Jesse Ventura gave it a nod, which he doesn't do that very much with the movie. But it was pretty good.
Okay. But because it's an R-rated film, we don't really give it recommendations.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's violence. Definitely violence.
Yeah. So it's like I still try to keep this a family show, so we try to keep what we talk about away from that. But thanks for driving us into the R-rated territory, Phil.
You're welcome, brother. Hey, I'm just saying it's very entertaining. It's very entertaining. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, and I mean it, edge of your seat.
Well, I actually got 2 news stories, so let's hit that sounder.
Spanning the Disney and geek universe to bring you the best in comics, toys, movies, and entertainment. This is news from around Neverland.
All right, I'm going to finish the news in 2 sentences. Batgirl has been canceled. Ezra Miller has been arrested. Thank you very much. DC sucks at movies. Okay, moving on.
I'm actually glad that they're going to go somewhere else with that because I'm talking about the Batgirl stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't want. Don't get me wrong. I would never wish bad on anybody. I'm talking about with Ezra. I would never wish bad on anybody, but I didn't want him to be the Flash. To be frank about it, and because I saw him on Justice League, and I didn't care for him as the Flash.
Yeah.
So I was hoping they would go with someone else, not because I wish bad on anybody. It's just I just don't agree with him as that character. But as far as the Batgirl thing, I didn't want a woke thing, and that's just me.
Yeah. And apparently, neither does the new guy running things for Warner Brothers.
I'm glad, because the thing is there's no reason to get political with any of this, any of it. And it sounds like it might be going away from the Supergirl as well. Not because by the way, it has nothing to do about being a girl. That's not what it is. I mean, obviously these are girl characters. That's not what it is at all. It's just the script doesn't sound like they should have been thinking this stuff through, really.
Yeah. You got to write a good story first and then do that. Story is supposed to be everything. Even George Lucas used to tell people that. Story is everything. Everything else is secondary.
You can add a little, if you have to, which I don't think you have to, but if you have to have a little something in there, okay. I don't know why you have to, but that should never be your first main thing is some kind of political scam or whatever.
Yeah. No agendas. No agenda. Now, I wanted to get through the news real quick because we got, for like main content, we got so much stuff we're going to talk about later. My goodness. That now we got to go straight to the trailer park. And poor Philip's at the disadvantage. He's going to be able to see my screen, but he's not going to be able to hear it. But here comes that sounder, which he can't hear this either.
Mama, another gator got in the house.
Another gator? Give me that sugar. Come here.
Get him, Mama. Get that gator.
The Neverland trailer park.
There we go. And now, because Philip, hopefully you're going to get to see this screen when I click this.
I heard it, by the way.
Back to school already? Too bad we can't have summer forever.
There it is, our new school.
New classrooms. New subjects. I feel a stomachache coming on.
There's a special test you can take. If you pass it, you never have to return to school again.
Yay! This isn't going to end well.
Today we are studying the television. Ooh. I told you this teaching stuff was a piece of cake.
It's easy when you make it all up.
Potato-ium.
Huh? I think you mean potassium. Yeah! Is that going to be on the test?
It takes a lot of courage to admit when you're in over your head.
We students might not always give you teachers enough appreciation, but in my eyes, you're all heroes.
Here you go, Miss Othmar. This should get you through the next few months.
Hey, Snoopy, page 34.
August 12th.
Yay.
For anyone who has the Apple TV, which
I do.
Yeah, and I thought I was borrowing your account, but I've noticed I'm logged out again, so I think they caught me.
Well,
I'm gonna have to come over to your house so we can watch this. Lucy's School, a brand new Peanut special, which I don't know exactly why Lucy is trying to teach them stuff, but that's what's going on. It's Lucy trying to teach them before they start a new school.
That's this Friday.
Yeah, that would be this Friday. So, yeah, sometime. Well, dang it. Don't I have something I got to do this? What's coming up this weekend? Why am I got to remember the 12th for? I don't know. Well, that's payday. The 12th is payday. Yay. So, yeah, we'll have to go and watch that over at your place or something. So, yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. Looks a lot of cute. Although I think they kind of spoiled the ending because here they get into the new school. And I guess Lucy has learned some new lessons because I appreciate the bit at the end that where, Snoopy has always tried to sneak into the school and always gets kicked out. So we see him sitting in a desk outside the school and Lucy telling Snoopy what page number they're on.
It's cute. I couldn't hear it, but I could at least see bits and pieces of it.
Yeah. So I'm fairly excited. I think this is going to be neat. So I want to definitely check it out.
I enjoyed the other show they had of it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think I saw any of the Apple stuff. They had like Snoopy going to space or something.
Yeah, some of that was fun, but they had a lot of neat shows on there, Snoopy, and it was a really cute show, very fun show. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm always nervous. Like now that they got past the Charles Schultz age, like okay, can they really bring back the magic of what he was able to do? But here's something.
Who's ever in charge of it seems to be doing a pretty good job with it.
Good. Yeah, I'm sure his family is making sure that it stays true to what he created. But here's something
good.
I didn't know was coming, but we already know that on Disney Plus we're going to have a live action version of Pinocchio. But I'm not too interested in that one. I'm more interested in seeing this Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio.
Yeah. They've been talking about this.
Yep.
From my many wanderings on this earth, I had so much to say about imperfect fathers and imperfect sons, and about loss and love. I've learned that there are old spirits who rarely involve themselves in the human world, but on occasion, they do. I want to tell you a story. It's a story you may think you know, but you don't. A story of the wooden boy.
Where am I?
I feel as though you've been here before. The wooden boy with the borrowed soul. Be his son. Fill his days with light. We shall call you Pinocchio.
Oh, what a day, what a day.
Now, this actually looks very, very cute, and it's stop-motion puppets. Let me read to you what it has here on the official page here. Academy Award-winning filmmaker Guillermo del Toro literally reinvents the classic tale of the wooden marionette who is magically brought to life in order to mend the heart of a grieving woodcarver named Geppetto. This whimsical stop-motion film, directed by Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafson, follows the mischievous and disobedient adventures of Pinocchio in his pursuit of a place in the world. Now, the Disney version of Pinocchio, that doesn't stay with the books. This one clearly is not staying with the book. In fact, they're looking, from what it seems to show, this looks like Geppetto had a son that died, and you've got Ewan McGregor as the voice apparently of Jiminy Cricket, and it's talking about, and even their Blue Fairy is saying that the Pinocchio is borrowing a soul. So I'm thinking, okay, Pinocchio is basically the soul of Geppetto's son, apparently, in this version. So they gave it a reason for Geppetto to exist. But the Pinocchio of the book, which was a series of short stories that appeared, I think, in newspapers or magazines originally, then they were collected into the book. And he's a bad boy, and Pinocchio is an example of what not to do. And that was the lesson he taught children, is don't do what Pinocchio is doing. He was a very bad kid.
Disney did right, I think, by trying to make it to where you learn by not being a punk. But one thing, I knew that Ian McGregor was Jiminy Cricket only because the only preview we had before showed basically a little bit of Jiminy, kind of his shadow, or I should say his. You could see around him, and he was talking a little bit, and you could tell it was Ian McGregor because he has such a great voice.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited for this. Is supposed to be coming out for the holidays this year on Netflix, and I'm pretty excited for this. This actually looks pretty good, and I guess that's what Guillermo del Toro has been working on instead of doing a Haunted Mansion movie, because the Haunted Mansion movie has been passed on to someone else. Which, oh, by the way, Jamie Lee Curtis and somebody else has been announced to be playing. And Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be playing Madame Leota in this new Haunted Mansion movie.
Cool, because she was in the first, if you will, the modern horror movies.
The slasher movies. She was the beginning of slasher movies. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really fitting.
Yeah. And I saw somebody make the joke, it's like, so what? Did Michael Myers finally chop her head off and now stuffed it into a thing and she's Madame Leota?
It would be funny, though, just as a little, I guess, joke or not, if Mike Myers would be in this film. Door going, welcome.
All right, I'm going to let that one die a natural death.
No, but Mike Myers doesn't let her die. Sorry.
Oh, stop. Stop. Okay. Well, the next thing that's probably going to also, I think, die a natural death, because nobody asked for this. And I mean, the movie is fantastic, but I don't know if the series is going to be so much. I cannot play you the audio for this upcoming Amazon series because somebody dropped a S-bomb. A League of Their Own as an Amazon series. It looked like they're going as woke as they could possibly maybe go a bit, though. Like they're going to try to push as much stuff in there as an agenda. And so I don't know if this is going to have the same charm as the movie. The movie is fantastic with Gina Davis and Tom Hanks. Oh, my goodness.
I just happened to be watching it yesterday a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great movie, but a lot of people that when I was looking on YouTube where this trailer had popped up, everybody's saying the movie was so great. Why would you ruin it by making it into a series? Let's leave it alone.
A true story too. The movie.
Yeah, well, based off true. I mean, I don't think the actual characters were truth, but the events were true.
Yeah.
So they've kind of got to reinvent, and they kind of can tell a new story. And it's like, okay, telling a story in that era and come up with stuff was not a bad idea, but I would maybe title it something else and not try to make it associated too much with a movie that is now kind of a classic. So I have a feeling we'll just let that die a natural death on Amazon. But who knows? Maybe people will watch it. But here's something else. Now, I have not even finished the first season of Picard, but they put out a season 3 teaser for those of you interested. And listen for all the special voices you're going to hear.
You're only as good as those around you.
Those days on the Enterprise made me a better man, a better father, a better friend.
I thought I could inspire people, bring justice to an unjust universe.
You have no idea how hard it is to be in this world.
Do not presume to know what I have and have not sacrificed for this.
We have to be willing to go through that door to what's next.
There's a whole universe out there. Wherever you go, we go.
Here, in this moment, let's do what we spent our lives learning to be great at.
As long as you and your crew remain steadfast, you are never without hope.
So the final season of Star Trek Picard, they've pretty much brought back nearly the entire cast of The Next Generation. And I know they're doing it just to try to get me to jump back on the wagon and watch. But
season 2 is pretty good.
I've heard a lot of mixed reactions because there's a lot of agenda, and I hear they decided to make Picard kind of have a gay love towards Data.
No.
Oh, good.
Not really.
Because I was like, really? That doesn't fit with the character.
His love towards Data, he does have a lot of love towards Data, but it's more of a brotherly, fatherly type of love. And he loves him very much. Just the same kind of love I have towards you and my other best friend, Seth. I mean, I love you all very, very much. But anyone who's a Christian or has any kind of love towards a family would understand this. Christian love is called agape love, and family love is called filial love, or friendly love is filial love. And any romantic love is called eros love, or romantic love. And there's a difference in that. Now, he actually is in love with a woman in the season who is actually a Romulan that he saved in season 1. You find out who is married in season 1, but her love dies. And why does he die? Because the actor literally died after season 1, and who was her husband. But you find out that he loves her. But it's a long story. You have to watch season 2.
Let's say don't spoil the whole thing, because I might get around to finally finishing the first season. I've started it up like twice and never finished it.
I thought it was sad because the actor that plays her man in the first season, he was really kind of cool. When I found out he literally died, I mean, the actual actor died, I was sad about that. But one thing that you are going to like for season 2 is Q comes back.
Yeah, I did see some stuff on that. And that I almost watched because of like Q. But yeah.
And Q, one great thing about Q too is that you get to see that Q's relationship with Picard is very interesting because it's not the enemy that you think he is. He really admires Picard in a lot of ways, and yet doesn't like him either. He's like a frenemy in a sense.
Yeah, he is. He always was in The Next Generation too. He was, he always wanted to be able to help Picard, but his pride was a problem.
I have a problem with. I'm talking in real life. I'm not a big fan of Whoopi Goldberg, but at the same time, I love the character she played.
Yeah, Guinan.
And I kind of feel sorry for Whoopi because her character Guinan, as you know, is not supposed to age, and yet, of course, she's a human. Whoopi is, and she's gained a lot of weight. And I mean, this happens as you get older and everything. And so they had her come back, and they kind of had to explain why her character, why she gained weight or whatever it was. I felt kind of bad for her, for Whoopi, because I thought, that's got to be kind of disheartening to have to go on there and explain why your character has aged and gained weight. But then they had another actress play the younger version of Guinan, which is different and bizarre in a sense, but it was neat and she did a good job. I mean, she acted just like Whoopi does.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's season 2.
And I've been hearing a lot of nice things about Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Pretty good so far.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of nice things about it, and I guess I don't need to have watched Discovery because I heard Discovery was not that great.
I didn't like it. I didn't like Discovery much at all. But I'm not saying it's all bad, but so far, Strange New Worlds, I need to finish that season. Yeah. But it's really good.
And there's at least one character that has crossed over from Discovery onto Strange New Worlds, is what I've heard. But
yes,
I guess I can get introduced to the character if I get one. But I don't trust CBS with Star Trek.
Character, honestly, you already know that character, Pike. I mean, I'll just say it.
I know about Captain Pike, but I thought there was another character from the Discovery that was becoming part of Pike's crew.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And I mean, obviously, and I'm very old school. That doesn't surprise you, I know. But so when you see characters, I won't say any of the names, but if you see characters from the old days, obviously, I'm going to go back to the old school actors who are my favorites. But they do a pretty good job on these, and it's kind of nice to see them. And it's kind of nice to see some things that I think they do a good job, especially in the sense that it feels like Star Trek. That's why I don't care as much for what do they call it? I can't remember the name of the Abrams,
the J.J. Abrams universe.
They call it like Kelt. I'm sure someone's yelling at
Kelvin
me right now.
Or something. Yeah.
Kelvin, it's the Kelvin, but it's fun. But to me, it's like an Elseworld.
Yeah.
It's like a what if Star Trek.
Well, as good old Sylvester Stallone, I follow him on Instagram, and he talks a lot about what he's doing. But he didn't mention a thing that he was working on this movie. But this trailer is called Samaritan. I'm pretty excited for this. Take a listen.
Wait up! What do you do with all this junk? Keep me busy.
Another long night of crime and violence.
Some say it's only a matter of time before the city implodes.
I think we're finished here. Go on, beat it.
I found him. Samaritan.
Samaritan died 25 years ago.
That's what they say.
You think you live across from a superhero? Do you have a therapist, kid?
Kid. Samaritan's dead. I pick up garbage for a living, pal.
Samaritan cleaned up the streets.
You mind your business, I'll mind mine.
I don't believe you! Are you okay?
I'm cool.
How strong are you?
Not as strong as I once was. Things start to fall apart when you stop caring. And I stopped caring a long time ago.
How come you hate who you are?
For some people, it's too late to change the damage they've done.
He's hiding something. I want him dead.
Really?
The things you bury tend to haunt you.
Why did you disappear?
Hey, old man! Try this. Come on!
August 26th, coming to Amazon Prime Video, Samaritan. Basically, this is a lot like what that Will Smith movie where he was supposed to be really bad at being a superhero. This is what that movie could have been, except for it's Sylvester Stallone as a retired superhero who's tried to hide out, don't know why, as a garbage guy. But a kid finds out that he was a superhero and still has all his powers, but he's not as strong as he once was.
It kind of reminds me of that character I used to draw. Remember Grudge?
Yep.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, the mask, totally.
Yeah, I may have to draw that again just for the fun of it.
But it's how perfect is this? Sylvester Stallone, being that he's an older guy, but he's from the 80s, Rocky and Rambo. He played all these big superhero type characters. To him be playing as a retired superhero, that's perfect.
That's perfect, man. Absolutely. He man, I love that guy. He's just so much fun.
So I'm pretty excited for this. So that's coming up. That'll be next week.
Yeah, Mr. Judge Dredd. I am the law.
I am the law. Yeah, we won't talk about whether that movie was really that good, but it's kind of stupid fun.
Yeah.
But now here's something else that because of video game, this might be more music than anything, but let's just hit this. But I only played, I think, the original Tekken in arcades. And I haven't really followed up on Tekken, but I thought people would be interested to know the Tekken Bloodline, an animated feature. Maybe it's a series. I think it's like a feature thing. It's coming to Netflix.
What is it that haunts you? Whose eyes peer at you from the dark?
I see you watching me with those eyes.
Kazama, think of your helplessness when Ogre killed your mother. In order to defeat him, you must purge the Kazama pacifism and stoke your Mishima fire.
You've got your secrets and I've got mine.
I'm going to tear you down completely. Then I will build you back up.
How do we know when to draw the line?
Your body itself will be a weapon. Mishima style is the only way. It's time. Welcome. Only the best are invited to compete in the King of Iron Fist competition.
What's up?
Hi.
Williams is a killer.
She doesn't look too dangerous.
That's the spirit.
You two are friends?
No.
I'd love to teach one of Heihachi's goons a lesson.
I'll see you in the ring. Good luck tomorrow, kid.
So you too.
Who needs luck? I've got the skills.
Do not advertise you're related to Mr. Kazuya Mishima.
Kazuya was evil in its purest form. The Mishima bloodline is tainted. The last thing you want to do is get tangled up with the Mishimas.
Every opponent you defeat is one step closer to defeating Ogre.
Challenge accepted.
When is it coming to Netflix? Let me take a look down here. So let's read what it says. August 18th, power is everything. Jin Kazama learned the family self-defense arts, Kazama-style traditional martial arts from his mother at an early age. Even so, he was powerless when a monstrous evil suddenly appeared, destroying everything dear to him, changing his life forever. Angry at himself for being unable to stop it, Jin vowed revenge and sought absolute power to exact it. His quest will lead to the ultimate battle on a global stage, the King of Iron Fist tournament. Now, the one thing that I've noticed in this, because I know nothing of Tekken other than I played the first game, but I used to play as a character called Law, and he was kind of a Bruce Lee clone, because every fighting game back in the 90s had to have a Bruce Lee clone, right? There's Lei Fong, was it, in Street Fighter 2? And then, of course, you had Liu Kang. There's always a Bruce Lee character. And I did not see Law popping up in this trailer, and I wonder if it's because they don't want to have a character compared to Bruce Lee so much, because they don't want to get into trouble. But this kind of looks cool. I mean, I don't know anything about the story of Tekken, really. Like I said, I've only played the first game back in the arcades, and I haven't followed up on that game series. But, with the success, I guess, of that last live-action Mortal Kombat, which, by the way, there is a sequel to that one apparently in the works now, too, they decided, you know what, this could be a viable franchise if done properly. And so here we go. We've got an animated Tekken coming out on Netflix August 18th. Did you ever play any Tekken?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, it was fun. And one thing I kind of learned with it is I noticed if I would always go more defensively. It seemed to work better because if I would attack, the computer would block it and then counter really fast. So for a fighting game, I would kind of sit there. I'd wait for the computer to attack and I'd sidestep and then come in, which actually works pretty well. You and I used to play the original Soul Edge, which I think that it was the name something else in the arcades or whatever. But where you have the weapons.
I don't remember how or from when I saw them, but I do recognize them. Maybe it's from a toy line, who knows? But I do recognize them.
The Tekken characters, or you mean the Soul Edge?
Yeah, I recognize the guy she was fighting against with the hair going up on the sides.
Yeah, the crazy hair. That's Japanese style.
I recognize some of that, but maybe it's because some of the characters to me, and this is not an attack on any style of anything, but for some reason they always kind of remind me of one another. Like, for instance, I always thought they looked a little bit like Street Fighter characters.
Well, yeah, it's that Japanese anime style. So a lot of the character designs end up coming out very similar. It's very anime style with crazy spiky hair.
Well, yeah, like the guy with the blonde hair sticking straight up. Yeah. He was wearing red, so he looked like a combination of a couple different Street Fighter characters to me, personally.
Like Ken and Guile mixed up.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Like Ken Guile, we'll call him.
Yep. Alrighty, and then one last trailer, something I had no idea what was coming, but I'm sure doggone excited. This looks kind of fun.
Hey, Mater, want a race?
Well...
Come on!
Look at you, all charged up to race. But I don't have a chance against... No! Come on, Lightning! Hey, buddy, just letting you know I'm gonna be gone because I'm heading back east to go to my sister's wedding.
Wait a minute. You have a sister?
Whoa!
Boggles the mind, man.
Must be ages since you've seen her.
What if I go with you?
Really?
Let's make it a road trip.
There's thousands of things to see.
But just the tiniest little taste of death.
Oh, dear mother.
I'm guessing this is the beginning of something great.
You got that right. We'll wander the back road.
This is so cool.
Make new friends.
Hey, where are you guys headed?
I gotta rinse off this old baggage.
Whoa! Look at you!
What about me?
Can't mess with perfection.
I spy with my little eye. Two quackity kitty cars.
Points for pageantry. This is not what I expected.
Whoa! All the bumps along the road. That's what makes life worth living. I got you, buddy!
I love these!
I don't know.
Come on, look, you picked the last stop. World's largest tire maze.
McQueen!
Mater!
McQueen!
Mater!
McQueen!
Parents, stream it on Disney+.
September the 8th, we've got Cars on the Road, a 9-episode road trip going to Mater's sister's wedding. And every episode, they go to a different weird roadside attraction and get into crazy adventures.
That looks like a lot of fun.
That's going to be great. It's like getting back to the original Cars characters in there. Oh, my goodness. But it just looks like silly fun. It just cracks me up that the last bit where he's like, well, hey, you picked the last roadside attraction and the world's largest tire maze was not great. And they showed them all two opposite sides of the maze. And they're going, McQueen, Mater, McQueen, Mater, when they can't find each other. Because it reminds me of us in corn mazes so much.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, so that's September the 8th. I'm definitely checking that out on Disney+. That just looks like a heck of a lot of fun. So, yep. All right, we don't have a movie review, but I got a ton of stuff to get into some main content. And if I had a fifth button, I could have a sounder for when we get into our main topics of the day.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What foolishness would you like to see?
But what I want to dive into first, mainly because I've been seeing a lot of stuff. Even today, there was stuff with, I don't know how Captain Marvel became a topic again. But there was, I think, even with Ms. Marvel or something. I didn't watch all of the Ms. Marvel series either. But
I didn't watch it.
I want to dive into what actually makes a good character in a story. And I've got to note, wherever they start, we expect them to grow. Like, and I want to take some examples. Superman. When we first meet, of course, we first meet him as a child, but he's already has some power. But we get some time for him to grow up. But when he learns to become Superman, he has 10 years that he's in the Fortress of Solitude. Wow, the Fortress of Solitude, learning things, and we see in Superman 2, he hasn't gained a whole lot of fighting ability because no one expected him to fight anything that would be at his level of power.
Came close, yeah.
Spider-Man. When we meet him as meager Peter Parker, even when he gets powers, we see him screw up. We see him slam into a wall trying to learn to web sling. We see him mess up, getting beat up by the Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. Even when they get powers, they still have to learn things before they become, and that was what makes a good character. So they start out with no abilities, or you don't get abilities or skills that you don't earn them. That's how you make a good character. I don't care if it's male or female, but I had people I saw on Twitter, and I don't know why I ever got on Twitter and looked at this. There was something trending I was curious about, but someone dared to say, well, but Captain America didn't learn how to use his powers. I'm like, okay, let's look at Captain America. He went to basic training, learned everything there. Even if he wasn't physically able, he had the knowledge. And when we see him chasing at the bad guy there in the first Captain America movie, we see him mess up with his powers and jump actually through a window, and he screws up a lot because he's not used to his power.
And he wasn't even able to use it because the general wouldn't let him, if you recall.
Yeah, he wasn't get to go on the field until he just took the guts to do it himself. But, good characters, male or female, whatever color, a good character, we want to see them grow and become. And if they're just suddenly given the ability and the skill to know it as if they always had it just to make them awesome, that's when we end up calling them Mary Sue's, or there was apparently there's a name for a male that ends up having it, but it doesn't happen as often with male characters. It seems like in a push here lately that we don't want to make female characters as good. We just want to make them instant awesome because, like, I think I've already talked about She-Hulk, how where she's suddenly like she's just better than Hulk already automatically, but it's like that's not how you make a character good. In all of story, when you create a good character, they have to rise to an occasion. Talk about some female characters. Ellen Ripley, she's an astronaut. She has to rise to the occasion in Aliens because she cares enough to go save a little girl that she just risks everything and is prepared, but she's risking death, severe. But there's a difference between rising the occasion and finding yourself capable of doing something. And this is easy for me because I'm awesome.
That's one thing I got to say, even though we're not necessarily promoting it, but in the movie Prey that I just watched, she had to earn her way even in that because she kept failing.
Good.
And I liked it not because, a woman messed up. No, but she thought that she could do something she couldn't do, but eventually she kept learning from her failures and messed up, and before long, from learning from her failures, she became better. Because that's how you learn. At first, you don't succeed, try again.
And that's how you relate to a character, because us as people, we mess up and we learn from our mistakes. So when we see a character do the things and make mistakes and learn, now we're bonded with that character. Now we relate to them. Now we understand them. No matter if they're not the same color, same gender as us, it doesn't matter. We relate to that character because, I failed like that before, and it gives you that confidence. Well, a good heroic stories or the hero's journey gives you the idea hey, if I just keep striving, I can achieve things. That's what a good hero does. They inspire you. That is the message of Superman. He is supposed to be like the inspiration to us all.
Because even though he has abilities that we can't even come close to, he also has the same feelings we do. And it's so bad to give everything he has for other people, which we have. I mean, so though he does things we can't do physically, he has the heart.
Right.
Of it.
Yep, and that's what makes it work. And that's something I thought needed to be pointed out, because even in a conversation I had today, and somebody even tried to point out, why did everybody complain about Rey? Because Luke Skywalker got an X-Wing and suddenly knew what all the buttons did. Okay, well, Luke Skywalker, he mentions flying around in a T-16 Skyhopper, going through Beggar's Canyon, bullseyeing womp rats. Now, look at it this way also. You drive a car. You buy a new car. Did it suddenly change because you went from one car to another car? No, you can still drive it. So, yeah, he had a little bit of time, and even the radio dramas and the book even got into, he was supposed to be doing some battle simulators because he's not really been in a battle before. So they did try to teach him, but they, with limited time, but he's flown things before, and he knows how to shoot stuff in a thing. So, no, he didn't just suddenly gain abilities. And even with the Force, he had to learn. And the only thing he knew to do in that first movie was to reach out and feel it, because Obi-Wan had taught him at least only that much. So, no, he doesn't suddenly get instant things that he didn't earn. He did learn things as he grew up.
And we really don't know how long he was on Dagobah. It never gives us a time frame.
Well, I'm not even talking about Dagobah. I'm talking first movie, because that's what people were fussing about. First movie. So how did he know what all the buttons do in the X-Wing? He knew how to fly one of these things, and how different might it have been from his T-16 Skyhopper that he used to pilot on Tatooine?
Well, one thing my father used to say to me, he was talking about all the newer movies coming out, and he was getting more and more special effects. Now, this is when I was a kid. Keep in mind, this is when it still mostly stop animation and all that, with some animation of lasers and all that. It was still animation. There wasn't computer stuff really yet until a little bit later. But he was saying that the only thing that he didn't like, as he saw things going this direction, when aliens and all that stuff was getting more and more popular, he said he liked growing up. He liked a lot of those, but he said that he was afraid that one day he was going to get more into the special effects and less from the story.
Yeah,
right. But it hadn't got to that yet. He said he saw it coming in the future, and he was correct, because they grew up with movies where there was a lot more story with very little special effects. But as the special effects got more and more advanced, people thought you don't have to have as much story.
Yeah, but we can dazzle you with our effects.
That special effects without story is a boring thing, and George Lucas said that.
Yeah. And one thing I've got to bring up Ian Malcolm again here, because he always has great lines in the first Jurassic Park.
Oh, when
he talks about the problem with what Hammond was doing with building this park is you stood on the backs of other people, and now you want to sell it. You didn't earn the discipline of discovering it yourself. And that's what happens if you have a character, you just jump up and you just give them the keys to the kingdom. They didn't earn the discipline to use it and wield it. And next thing you know, you got a T-Rex out there eating lawyers.
And we're going to sell it. We're going to sell it.
We're going to sell it. So, yeah, I had to bring. I feel like I bring this topic up in a lot of frequent episodes, but there was just stuff, and I don't want to get in arguments on Twitter because it's just a cesspool.
Oh, no.
But I'm like, when I see it, I'm like, no, here's where these people are not thinking, and they're not paying attention to these characters. The characters, they're some claiming, oh, they just suddenly did it. No, they earned it. Here's where it was. But I want to move on to the next thing because we are running out of time. The Jetsons, because did you see that George Jetson would have been born this year, and actually just was it this month or last month? George Jetson would be alive on this earth.
Baby George, wherever you're at, we love you.
Yeah, wherever you're at. Sorry we didn't get your flying cars, and we don't have cities in the skies, but I had to talk a little bit. I mean, the Jetsons actually you can watch on HBO Max right now.
Yes, I have every episode of the original. I don't know if every episode ever made yet, but I'm pretty sure it is. But that's a great show.
Yeah, it's kind of fun how it crossed over from in the 60s, and then in the 80s you had where it looks like the animation looks almost computerized in that those kid games that they had little animated characters like the little fish. They started looking like that with Orbity. Yes. But the Jetsons was a great cartoon.
Remember their janitor?
Oh, yeah, the handyman.
Yeah, what was his name?
Henry.
That's it. I can't remember his name. But I always loved him, too. He's like...
Yeah.
He's like... oh, hey there, Elroy. And Elroy is one of my favorites.
Yeah. And then, of course, I don't think he was in the original 60s. I think it was mainly in the 80s when it was a Saturday morning show where they had Uniblab.
Yes.
That annoying little snitch of a robot that was always pretending to be your friend. Then you'd get you to say something, then he'd run to Mr. Spacely.
Oh, yeah, he was a creep.
He was a creep.
But I love, the one thing that they did that I loved on that show, too, is that you had Spacely and then you had Cogsworth.
Yes,
who was like
Cogswell Cogs.
Yeah, he was great.
Oh, Spacely Sprockets would last for years. The Cogswell's Cosmic Team, or Spacely, no, the Spacely, Cogswell's Gears would last for years. The Spacely Sprocket Team. Remember that episode's the Little League teams where they had Elroy and they had Spacely's, Cogswell Cogs' son versus Elroy in the Little League games.
Yeah, I love that one. And I love how it was, man, you talk about cheating on some of the sports they would do. I think it was the baseball, or maybe it's the basketball. Maybe it's both. Who knows?
They had a football where it was all robots.
You remember how they had these little jetpacks on?
Yeah.
Jump up and you're like, wow,
this doesn't take athletic ability anymore.
Yeah. Well, they did the same thing with like a wrestling thing. You're like, wow, wouldn't that make it easy to kind of get up high and put a basket in?
Yeah. Oh, and one other weird thing I had to point out, like the one where they had the thing that granted them wishes, and George wanted to be a superhero. He became Super George. What did it happen? Because he didn't know how to use his powers, he ripped the car apart trying to open the door.
Remember? I love that show. Great show. And of course, Astro.
Yes.
You gotta love that. Oh, George.
Rory.
Yeah. I love you, George. Get off me.
I would love to have seen a crossover with Scooby-Doo and Astro.
Oh, that would have been great. I really love the movie they made where the Jetsons meet the Flintstones.
Yeah.
I love, though, one of my favorite endings of all time, because, the Jetsons was really, it was because of the Flintstones. I mean, everyone knows that. But it was a tremendous thing where you have, of course, in the Flintstones, Wilma, and because that stupid cat who was really not on the show that much,
right?
Who put him out the door is the ending of everyone. So then what they have to do for the Jetsons, and I love it, where he's walking this cat who they really didn't have, or no, he was walking the dog, and this cat jumps up there, and you have Jane, get me off this crazy thing,
stop this crazy thing.
And I love how. I don't know if you ever seen the movie. What was it? So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah.
So you have Mike Myers again. We're back to him.
Yeah,
Mike
back to
Myers
him
singing this song. He do this beatnik rhythm all the way through. 'Cause he find a girl, and he's at one point he goes, "Jane, get me off this crazy thing called love."
Yeah. Oh, goodness. I don't even know if that movie made it to theaters, but I saw it on HBO.
It did. It did. I had the soundtrack, and that was on there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wasn't it? There she goes again. Wasn't that on that soundtrack? Oh, my gosh. Oh, all right. But now to keep the show rolling, time for some tributes to all the people who have passed away. And I'm starting, and for those of you still listening as Disney fans, David Warner passed away July 24th. David Hattersley Warner. And I'm mainly bringing him up for two major movies. Of course, I do remember seeing him when he played Jack the Ripper in Time After Time.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
But he played some Klingons in Star Trek. What was his character in Tron? He was the villain other than the Master Control program.
Yeah, he was the main villain.
What was his name? I'm trying to look it up here.
He ran the whole company.
Yes.
Yeah. Not only did he play Klingon in Star Trek 6, but Star Trek 5, he played a human being who was there. And then on Star Trek The Next Generation, he played not a Cardassian. Yeah, Cardassian.
Yeah, the Cardassians, yeah. Not as the Kardashians, the Cardassians.
And they kidnapped Picard, and he kept asking him, how many lights do you see? And he wanted him to say 3, but there was 4. And so Picard finally yelled back, there are 4 lights.
Oh, goodness. Let's see if I can find. Oh, my gosh. I found a lot of things listed. I'm looking for Tron on the list of things he did.
I think it was 2. He was on tons of movies.
Yeah. Ed Dillinger or Sark. Oh, and he was also the voice of the Master Control program, as this says here.
Ah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, he did a voice on, I want to say.
Well, he was Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul?
Yeah.
No, it was one of those.
Mm-hmm. He was
for Batman the animated series.
Before Batman, there was something? Because
I can't remember which Batman, but he did one of the voices on Batman the animated series. I remember that, or at least he was in it somewhere.
He was Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's what I said. But I don't know if there was a previous. But of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze, Professor Jordan Perry.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, I loved him in that.
Yes, indeed. Is this going to be live, or can we edit it? Because I do tend to ramble. Yeah. Professor, we're live. So
Just so great.
Yeah, he was so great and had such fun characters.
And almost everything he did, he was in Titanic.
Yes, I don't know if it was that. Was it the major Titanic one? I did see something, but I think it was an older Titanic.
He
it
was the one
97.
The main villain. He was protecting him, and you saw when the ship was split in half, he was right next to it and going down with it.
Spicer Lovejoy. Oh, got nominated for a Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture. Oh, and he got to narrate in Pooh's Grand Adventure, The Search for Christopher Robin.
Oh, cool.
He was in the 2001 Planet of the Apes, which I didn't see. That was the Tim Burton attempt.
He was in that?
Yeah. Terry Pratchett's Hogfather. There you go.
It would almost surprise me if he wasn't in more things than we're aware of, because he was in so many things.
Admiral Boom and Mary Poppins Returns.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So much stuff.
I saw him. Every time I see him, I'm like, yes.
Yep. But I got to move on to our next person, which I only know him for one character. Tony Dow as Wally Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver.
Tony was one of those who always appeared. A lot of times people would have him show up either as himself, because in the 80s they'd have him and Jerry show up together, because Wally and Beav, and they became very good friends. And they'd have him and what's her name, who played their mom. They'd have them show up together. Yeah. And he was basically a staple of TV. And he was a good guy. He was a really good guy.
But look, there's a lot of TV mentions. I mean, General Hospital, Knight Rider, Quincy M.E., Murder, She Wrote, Back to the Beach. I remember that. The new Leave It to Beaver.
That's right.
One episode of Charles in Charge.
Yeah.
And, of course, Dickie Roberts, former child star. Yeah, there was a lot of people that popped up, and that was kind of fun.
They had a sequel movie and then TV show on Disney Channel, the old Disney Channel of
the new Leave It to Beaver. Also, Still the Beaver. Yep.
Yeah, Still the Beaver, yeah.
Oh, goodness, yeah. So he did pop up a lot of television. But, yeah, as you were saying, a lot of times him and Jerry Mathers would show up together.
Yeah, Jerry would. And, he was very affable.
Yeah.
A very affable man, and just seemed to be really a gentleman.
Mm-hmm. Also, we've lost Paul Sorvino, which he had 3 children, including Mira Sorvino.
Yes.
Yes, indeedy. But the main things I want to be able to point out to you is Lips Manless and Dick Tracy.
Yes.
Eddie Valentine and The Rocketeer. I'm always going to love him best for those.
So he was also a half-brother to Worf on Next Generation of Star Trek.
He played a Klingon, or is he really related to Michael Dorn?
Half-brother to Worf on there. He wasn't, Klingon, but he was, you could see him. He just had a little thing on his nose.
Okay.
I don't remember if he was half-brother or an adopted brother. I don't remember how it worked, but he was related to him. And you could see he was on there, and it was a good episode, a really good episode. He was on so many things. He played a gangster a lot
because he's Italian.
He was on Goodfellas, and he was on so many movies. But he was so good on everything I saw him on.
Yeah,
he was on Nixon. He was on a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm looking at this long list, and not everything he was in that I see, but there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, a tremendous actor, a really great one.
Yeah. My Jurassic Place to be a posthumous release.
That's where it seems serious, and I loved him in Rocketeer.
Yes.
My favorite line he says in there, he said something about not being honest, because he was, gangster. He said, I may not be honest, he goes, but I earn an honest buck. But he was talking about, I already said, but I'm a honest-blood American. And I love
that. I sure ain't no Nazi.
That's what he would not go along with the villain, because he's pure American. He was not going all the way that direction. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it's funny that him and the cops that were kind of knew that he was up to no good, and they're looking back and forth as they're both fighting Nazis together. They kind of exchange a look like, "Hey, okay."
Yeah, I loved it. Enemies and yet frenemies in that moment.
Yep. And Rocketeer is still a great movie, no matter what people say that it's not great. I love it. I love it. We both have a Rocketeer figure. That we bought. Very nice figures. Mine's still in my box, but you've got yours out and flying around the room. And, of course, oh, my goodness, Nichelle Nichols, board Grace Dell Nichols. That's interesting.
Yeah, Nichelle Nichols. One of my favorites. She did a lot didn't even know that she did herself for a long time. She wanted to quit the show Star Trek. She was known as one of the very first African American ladies who did a lot of things. Of course, the first interracial kiss on TV between her and William Shatner, but she wanted to quit, and Martin Luther King Jr. asked her not to because kids everywhere were seeing her. Not just kids, but people everywhere, but kids everywhere were seeing her, and she was a sign of the future because she was supposed to be, in the future, and he asked her to please stay, and so she did, especially because Martin Luther King Jr.
They actually have her telling the story. So is that so this is where she's even about to leave Star Trek to take a role on Broadway. So that weekend, Nichols attended a banquet that was being run by the NAACP, where she was informed that a fan really wanted to meet her. And here's a quote from her. I thought it was a Trekkie, and so I said, sure. I looked across the room, and whoever the fan was had to wait because there was Dr. Martin Luther King walking towards me with his big grin on his face. He reached out to me and said, yes, Ms. Nichols, I am your greatest fan. He said that Star Trek was the only show that he and his wife, Coretta, would allow their 3 children to stay up and watch. She told King about her plans to leave the series because she wanted to take a role that was tied to Broadway. I never got to tell him why because he said, you cannot. For the first time on television, we will be seen as we should be seen every day as intelligent, quality, beautiful people who can sing, dance, and go into space, who are professors, lawyers. Dr. King Jr. went further, stating, if you leave, that door will be closed because your role is not a black role and is not a female role. He can fill it with anybody, even an alien.
Yeah.
And Uhura, they didn't make a big deal like, oh, look, we have a black woman on the bridge. No, she was just there doing her job, being part of the bridge crew, and nobody made a big deal. She was just there. And that's how you did it.
Gene Roddenberry was so genius about.
Yes.
Season 2, when they put Chekhov in there, it was a symbol of perhaps peace between, because as you know, it was the time of the Cold War, and he was trying to make a symbol, not saying, oh, look, we have a Russian. He's trying to say that in the future, there's going to be peace. Mm-hmm. And I just loved it. He didn't make a big deal about it. It was just, this is a human.
Yeah, he just threw it into the world, and just there you go. There it was.
How he did it with an undercurrent. That's how it ought to be. Not right out in your face. Oh, look.
Yeah, he didn't have to preach on it and brag about, look what I did. He just, it was.
Exactly. And it was the way it was even with their messages on the show. It was an undercurrent. It was never out in the open like, this is what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about. No, it was never that.
It was designed to make you think about it yourself and not somebody tell you what you're supposed to think. Just like, here's something to think about and not agree with me or else. There's a difference. I do notice a common thing with Tony Dow, The Adventures of Captain Zoom in Outer Space in 1995.
Oh, cool.
Both her and Tony Dow have that credit as a film there.
That's cool.
But what's neat is, you ever heard of Porgy and Bess? She was a dancer on there.
I've heard of that, actually.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never seen any of it, but I think Katie Lee has mentioned it to me that she was a big fan of that when she was a little girl. But then, all right, today's big passing, of course, by the time you hear it, it's not today. And this is another big hit on me because, this was, I think, probably my first crush when I was a kid.
All the time.
Yeah. Olivia Newton-John passed away today. I don't know if they've said why, but she'd gone through a lot of cancer. She'd had breast cancer, I think, twice. And the cancer at one point had gotten into her back. I was actually watching some clips and some news footage. Everybody's putting out news footage, but her current husband actually was growing medicinal cannabis. And she was using that to deal with the pain in the back. And she said, not only did it help the pain, but it helped it out with a lot of other things. I'm like, you were high as a kite when you died, weren't you?
Well, I hope it did help her. I really do.
Yeah.
I hope it did. I hope it took away some pain.
Yeah.
I hope it at least did that. That poor soul.
Yeah.
Of course, my favorite thing will always be Grease because I know a lot of the guys always love seeing her in the black tights. I'm not going to say it didn't look nice. I will say this though, the character itself, I always liked her as Sandy, the sweet, innocent. And that was my Sandy.
Although at least the plot of the movie is the corruption of Sandy.
Yeah, really. I wanted the opposite. I like the sweetness, Sandy.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with her before,
Yeah, exactly. She's sweet the way she was. She should have. The way I would have had it, where she was fixing him, she was already working on it, and he was doing it. He was going back the good way. But in truth, I think she had one of the strongest voices, one of the most beautiful voices I've ever heard in my life.
And two of my favorite songs, Xanadu and Magic.
Yeah, I remember you was always into that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I always liked that, and when I was a little kid, I've said this before, but when I was a little kid, and I was in kindergarten, and we were in the gym. I had a gym teacher who looked an awful lot like her, and she was always playing the song "Let's Get Physical." Now, I didn't know what that meant. I thought physical, we were in PE, physical education, and she would do that workout, and we were doing that with her, and I had no idea what the song really meant, but really seemed like at the time, because I knew who Olivia Newton-John was, obviously, and I seen enough of the pictures of how she was dressed and the video. It seemed like I was there with Olivia Newton-John working out to that song.
Yeah, and when you watch the video, the video is very much looks like the 20-minute workout. You know, it just seems about exercise, and it's not until I got older and I listened to the song, I'm like, whoa, that's suggestive.
That's not. Yeah, it's exercise, all right.
Yeah. Well, and it's okay. Never mind. No, this is a family show. I won't make the joke I was going to make. I won't do it. I'll tell you later. And would you believe that when we originally recorded this episode, I completely forgot about the late, great Pat Carroll, voice of Ursula from The Little Mermaid, a fantastic actress, great voice. She did a lot of other things before that I haven't gotten a chance to research. It's just while I'm editing the show here, I realized we forgot about Pat Carroll, and I had to say something. She is definitely one of my favorite Disney villains, one of my favorite Disney movies. She will definitely be missed, but she had such a great impact, and she really loved playing Ursula, and she was such a nice and sweet lady whenever you see any video footage of her. But always talk about how much fun she had playing Ursula. And she loved doing that laugh, although it took a lot out of her to do it, apparently. So also a tribute for Pat Carroll. So we're going to add this as a total of 6 tributes on this show. Well, 7 if you count George Jetson, which I'm about to. Here it comes. But so there's our tribute to George Jetson, David Warner, Tony Dow, Paul Sorvino, Nichelle Nichols, and Olivia Newton-John, and every character and story that's done the right way that we can relate to. But really, we're over an hour, so it's time we wrap this puppy up.
Yes.
So I've got to remind y'all to visit neverlandpodcast.com. Make sure you check out, we have on there right in the middle of the page, my podcast reviews. For just a low fee, you can subscribe for a year, and you can get all your reviews sent to your inbox. And you can get them from around the world because Apple only shows you your native country. But, of course, we want to thank Karen Kennedy, Ricky Popo, Christian Nerds Unite. By the way, keep him in your prayers, those of you that pray. He's got COVID. His wife actually did have some successful heart surgery. She appears to be doing good now. That's been a week kind of following him on Facebook of what's been going on. But he's had some COVID issues, and apparently at one point in the hospital spilled some ice on himself. So be thinking of Ricky Pope. He's a good guy. Darren Wilhite of the Wilhite and Wall Show. Thank all 3 of them for helping me out with our intro. And don't forget, podcast at neverlandpodcast.com. You can send us an email. You can follow us on Twitter, NeverlandPcast. Find us on Facebook at Neverland Podcast. We have both the group and the fan page. And make sure, of course, you visit our Patreon, patreon.com/Neverland Podcast, because this show, it really needs your support to keep this thing going. And make sure, hey, when you go to the website, go to our shop and check out all the new shirts. I've actually ordered a shirt for Philip for his birthday that hopefully we'll both be wearing on August 20th. Those of you in the northern Kansas City area, I believe it's going to be Open Door Baptist Church, Eternity Ready Radio. That's actually where I do the podcast. Actually streams on this service, as long as another show I do. We're going to be doing a live show on that day. It starts at 9 o'clock in that morning. I'm not sure when we'll actually start recording our show, but we will be there, Philip and I, if you want to come and meet us and maybe even be a part of the show, and we'll we'll ask you some weird questions. Maybe we'll play some trivia. I don't know. But Philip is doing weird things in his camera. Okay, it looks like he's blowing kisses or something and hitting buttons on his phone. But anyways, all right, Philip, you know what we need to do? Get lost.
Yes.
In an adventure! We'll see you next time.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on the projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.